Standard 11, Appendix Problem 3.2. Identify the free body diagram that represents the particles accelerating in positive x direction in the following. Okay, we have to find out the particle which is accelerating in the positive x direction. Now we'll take the first diagram. Okay, this is A. Now here four forces are acting, F1, F2, F3 and F4. Now you take F1 and F2. They have equal length but opposite direction. They have equal length and opposite direction. So the net force in the y direction is 0. Okay. So there is no acceleration along the y direction. Now if you take the x direction, F3 and F4, they are also having what? Equal length. So net force in x direction is also what? 0. Okay. So there is no acceleration in the x direction also. So the first case, there is no acceleration in x direction and no acceleration in y direction. Now coming to the second diagram. Okay. Now if you take the forces F1 and F2, they are not equal. They are not equal. The lengths are not what? Equal. But they act on the opposite direction. Okay. So they are having an unbalanced force in the y direction. Okay. But here you can see F2 is having greater length compared to that of F1. So the particle is accelerating in the negative y direction. The particle is accelerating in the negative y direction. But if you take F3 and F4, F3 and F4 are equal. Okay. So the force is 0. So there is no acceleration in the x direction. So totally you can say there is no acceleration in x direction, but in y direction it is having direction in, it is accelerating in negative y direction. Now coming to the third diagram. Okay. Now in the third diagram, if you take F1 and F2, F1 and F2 are of equal length. So the net balanced force will be what? 0. So there is no acceleration in the y direction. And F3 and F4, if you take it, F3 is greater than that of F4. So here it is an unbalanced force. But F3 is greater. So the particle is accelerating in negative x direction. So totally you can say there is no acceleration in y direction, but accelerating in negative x direction. Coming to the fourth diagram. Now if you take here F1 and F2, F1 and F2 are of equal length. F1 and F2 are of what? Equal length. Okay. So what you can say? So what you can say, F1 and F2 are balanced force. So the net force will be 0. So there is no acceleration in y direction. Now taking F3 and F4, F4 is greater than that of F3. Okay. So here it is an unbalanced force. Okay. But F4 is greater. So the particle is accelerating in positive x direction. So we have to identify the free body diagram. So this is the free body diagram that shows the particle is accelerating in positive x direction. So the answer is what? D. Okay. The option D is the answer.